Picture the moment of your last breath. As consciousness fades, you feel yourself drifting toward a brilliant light. But what if that light leads to a reality far more complex than we've been taught? What if heaven and hell aren't separate destinations, but rather two perspectives of the exact same place? In 1867, a remarkable account emerged from a small village in Massachusetts. Sarah Winchester, recovering from a near-death experience, described something that challenged centuries of religious doctrine. She spoke of a realm where souls existed together, yet experienced entirely different realities. Those filled with love and acceptance found themselves in paradise, while those consumed by hatred and fear experienced endless torment, all within the same spiritual plane. The ancient Egyptians believed in Duat, a realm where souls would face judgment. But hidden within their hieroglyphs lies a fascinating detail often overlooked by historians. The same space could manifest as either Sekhet Aru, their version of paradise, or Amit's realm of eternal darkness. The determining factor? The soul's own perception and state of being. This concept isn't limited to ancient civilizations. Modern quantum physics suggests the possibility of multiple realities existing simultaneously in the same space. Dr. Elizabeth Chen, a theoretical physicist at Cambridge University, proposes that consciousness itself might be the key to experiencing different dimensions of reality. What we perceive as heaven or hell could be quantum states of consciousness, existing in superposition until the moment of death, she explains. Consider the testimonies of those who've had near-death experiences. While some describe overwhelming peace and unconditional love, others recount terrifying visions of darkness and despair. Yet brain scan studies show remarkably similar patterns of neural activity in both groups. Could they be experiencing the same realm through different lenses of consciousness? The implications of this theory are profound and unsettling. If heaven and hell occupy the same spiritual space, our eternal fate might not be determined by external judgment, but by our own internal state. The ancient Buddhist concept of samsara hints at this possibility, suggesting that our perception shapes our reality, even beyond death. A haunting account from 1923 adds another layer to this mystery. During the Great Kanto earthquake in Japan, multiple survivors reported seeing the same celestial phenomenon. Some described it as a divine light offering salvation, while others perceived it as a terrifying harbinger of doom. Same event, radically different experiences, all determined by the observer's state of mind. This brings us to a chilling question. Are we unknowingly creating our afterlife experience in this very moment? The choices we make, the emotions we harbor, the beliefs we hold, could they be programming our consciousness for what we'll perceive beyond the veil of death? Recent research in neuroplasticity suggests that our thoughts and experiences physically reshape our brains. If consciousness transcends physical death, as many scientists now theorize, could these neural patterns determine how we experience the afterlife? The answer might lie in an unexpected place, the ancient practice of medieval monks who claimed to glimpse both heaven and hell during deep meditative states. These medieval monks described experiencing simultaneous visions of paradise and torment during their deepest meditative states. Brother Thomas of Canterbury wrote in 1256, "The kingdom of heaven and the pits of hell dance before my eyes as one, separated not by space, but by the condition of my soul." His detailed accounts mirror modern theories about consciousness-dependent reality. The revolutionary work of Dr. James Martinez at the Princeton Consciousness Research Institute has uncovered striking parallels between these historical accounts and contemporary near-death experiences. Using advanced EEG mapping, his team discovered that individuals in deep meditative states can simultaneously process conflicting emotional experiences, much like experiencing heaven and hell at once. But perhaps the most compelling evidence comes from an unlikely source: quantum entanglement. Scientists have long been baffled by particles that remain connected regardless of distance, influencing each other instantaneously. This phenomenon might explain how a single spiritual realm could manifest differently for different souls, all occupying the same space-time continuum. Consider the case of Maria Sullivan, a hospice nurse with 30 years of experience attending to the dying. She's documented thousands of final moments, noting a fascinating pattern. People who lived lives of kindness and acceptance tend to die with peaceful smiles, describing beautiful visions. Those harboring guilt and hatred often die in apparent terror, yet they're all looking at the same ceiling, the same room, the same moment. Ancient Hindu texts speak of Maya, the cosmic illusion that separates us from ultimate reality. They suggest that what we perceive as separate realms might be manifestations of our own consciousness. The Upanishads describe how the same divine light appears as either bliss or terror, depending on the observer's spiritual evolution. A groundbreaking study conducted at the University of Virginia's Division of Perceptual Studies documented over 2,000 cases of shared death experiences, where multiple people present at a death witness the same transition but interpret it differently. Family members with positive relationships with the dying person reported seeing golden light and feeling peace, while those with unresolved conflicts experienced darkness and dread. This brings us to the controversial theory of quantum consciousness proposed by Dr. Sarah Henderson. She suggests that consciousness itself might be a fundamental force of the universe, like gravity or electromagnetism. In this model, our awareness doesn't just observe reality, it actively shapes it, even after physical death. The implications are staggering. If our consciousness determines our eternal experience, then every thought, every action, every moment of our lives might be programming our afterlife experience. The heaven or hell we experience might not be assigned to us. We might be creating it right now. Archaeological discoveries in 2019 revealed ancient Sumerian tablets describing a realm of two faces where souls dwell after death. The tablets speak of a place where joy and suffering dance as one, each soul seeing what it has become. This description, written over 4,000 years ago, aligns eerily with our modern understanding of quantum superposition. But perhaps the most chilling evidence comes from a recent study of terminal patients who were clinically dead for several minutes before being resuscitated. Their accounts suggest something far more complex than traditional views of the afterlife, something that challenges our very understanding of consciousness and reality. These resuscitated patients described experiencing multiple realities simultaneously, heavenly bliss and hellish torment existing as parallel experiences. Dr. Rebecca Thompson, who led the study, notes, "It's as if they were quantum observers, capable of perceiving multiple states of existence at once." The determining factor in which reality became dominant seemed to be their own psychological and emotional state. This revelation forces us to confront an unsettling possibility. What if our consciousness is actually creating our reality, not just in life, but in death? The ancient Tibetan Book of the Dead warns that the moments following death are crucial, as the mind's state determines what realm of experience manifests. Modern neuroscience is beginning to understand why this might be literally true. In 2022, researchers at the Max Planck Institute made a stunning discovery. Using quantum sensors, they detected coherent quantum states in brain processes that persist for several minutes after clinical death. These quantum states could theoretically carry consciousness beyond physical death, maintaining the patterns of thought and emotion that defined our lives. Consider the story of David Chen, a reformed criminal who had a near-death experience during a failed robbery attempt. He described experiencing both heaven and hell simultaneously. But as his consciousness shifted toward remorse and redemption, the hellish aspects faded, leaving only peace. His account suggests that our eternal fate might not be fixed, but fluid, responding to our evolving consciousness. The implications are both liberating and terrifying. If heaven and hell are indeed the same place, experienced differently based on our consciousness, then we're not merely being judged, we're judging ourselves. Every moment of awareness becomes an opportunity to shape our eternal experience. Recent studies in epigenetics show that our thoughts and experiences can modify our DNA expression. If consciousness transcends physical death, these patterns of thought and emotion might become the blueprint for our afterlife experience. We're not just living our lives, we're programming our eternity. This understanding bridges ancient wisdom with cutting-edge science. The biblical phrase, "the kingdom of heaven is within you," takes on new meaning when viewed through the lens of quantum consciousness. Heaven and hell might not be destinations we're sent to, but states of being we create through our own awareness. As we stand on the brink of this revolutionary understanding, the question becomes not where we'll go after death, but who we'll be when we get there. Our consciousness, shaped by every thought, every action, every moment of our lives, might be the key that determines whether we experience eternal bliss or endless torment in the same infinite space. The choice, it seems, is ours to make. Not in some distant future or final judgment, but here and now, in every moment of consciousness. We're not merely preparing for an afterlife, we're creating it with every breath, every thought, every choice. Perhaps the ancient mystics were right all along. Heaven and hell aren't places we go to, they're states of consciousness we become. And in the end, the eternal question isn't whether we'll find heaven or hell, but whether we'll recognize that the power to experience either has been within us all along. The real journey isn't to some distant realm, but to the deepest understanding of our own consciousness. For in that understanding lies the key to our eternal experience. Heaven and hell, unified in space, separated only by the state of our awareness. What will you choose to become?